Okay, this is going to be it. Okay, this is going to be our last take. The first one was the best.
Am I in there?
But we
okay?
didn't, yeah.
Yeah.
The first take was the best, but it was this morning in our lawn chairs practicing, and I really wish that we had
Yeah.
filmed then.
You should probably introduce yourself.
Oh, hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Amy.
And we're going to start talking about things that affect everybody in their everyday lives and maybe give some advice on how to fix those things. I don't know. What do you
Yeah,
think?
or just maybe, I don't know.
How should we start?
I think we should start with what's affected us more recently, and that would be Doge.
Doge. So unless you've been living under a rock, everyone knows what Doge is. But it's kind of turned into a term, turned into a term that basically means eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse.
Which happened to be your
Which I guess I was waste.
job.
Yeah. All right, so I'll tell the story really quick. In 2020, I started working a contract for the Department of Education. And as we know, the current administration, that was one of the departments they targeted.
Yep.
And my contract went away. I've known for a few months.
Yeah, it's been since, I want to say the second week in February you found out.
I found out. But they kept us on till the beginning of March so that maybe we could get moved internally because I worked for a big government contracting company.
And maybe tell them what you do, so, because
Oh, yeah.
that'll be
I'm a software
important later.
engineer.
Yeah.
I'm a software engineer.
Yeah.
So I did try to move on to another contract within GDIT where I was working. Unfortunately, the couple of jobs that I was in the running for, the contracts didn't go away, but they decided the job opening that they weren't going to do any hiring.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I ultimately got laid off.
So, Mike's been, what do I want to say? Technically unemployed
Since March 3rd.
Yeah, since March 3rd. Yeah. So we're over 3 months now. And maybe you can tell just a little bit about how the job search has been.
Well, not good. Not because there's not jobs or anything like that. As a software engineer, the tech industry is heavily saturated. When I got into the business, it was 3 jobs for every candidate. Now there's like 300 candidates for every job. And there's a lot of jobs, so that tells you that there's a lot of software developers. So it's been very tough. I'm super competitive. I'm a pretty good software engineer. I know what I'm doing. I can get the job done, but I guess when you got 150 other people that are also applying, there's always someone better.
Yeah. And it's a lot different now than when you were looking for work.
Yeah,
last time.
like,
Just with,
yeah.
I think with
the
AI and all of that is,
not only that, the whole hiring
it's
process.
not as personal.
Yeah, the whole hiring process is just, it's insane. It's a real turnoff, I'll have to be honest with you, the way they hire. It's most of it is 4 interviews. You have a screening interview, a coding interview, then a technical interview, and then I guess an interview with the higher ups, they tell me.
Probably yeah.
It's just, it's super impersonal. I don't know. It's real discouraging. It's almost like you don't even want the job when they start telling you about the whole hiring process.
And we should probably be clear that we are older. So I just turned 60
And I'll
a
be
few
60
weeks
in
ago.
a year.
Yep. So that too, for those of you that are younger, you're probably like, oh, well, that's totally normal. But for someone who is looking at the end of their career, getting closer to retirement, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but
playing field.
things are going to work out. One thing I've noticed more and more is everyone seems to be living paycheck to paycheck, always on the edge of losing everything and drowning in debt. And we haven't been any different.
Yeah.
And I know it kind of segued a little bit away from the job hunt, but it'll all tie together, right?
Yep.
Because a couple years ago, I kind of started to realize that everybody's kind of focusing on stuff they have no control over, including me. I think I spent a little too much time focusing on stuff we have no control over.
And getting upset over things that you can't
Change.
necessarily change. You can only really change what is, right in front of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to.
Yeah, like I say, I can be
Make
upset
it-
about the
yeah.
hiring process, but that's the process, so I got to learn to live with it,
Yeah.
But we did start to do a few things. We started kind of looking at stuff in our own lives that needed improvement. And one of those areas was our financial health. Because, like I say, we were drowning in debt. I made decent money, but we were still drowning in debt. So we've done some things to try to get ourselves under control.
And you've done a lot over the last few months.
Yeah.
With being unemployed, he found other things to work on. So maybe
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
What you've been doing.
So, one thing I want to say, continue what I was saying, was we're better off today because I have focused a little bit more on stuff we need to fix and not letting the noise of the world confuse me and interfere with things. And I'm glad,
Distract.
I'm glad I didn't lose my job 2 years ago, because we would have been in some serious trouble. But we've actually been able to kind of survive for 3 months, and it's allowed me to kind of focus on what Amy was talking about or mentioned. One thing that I found is, or that I wanted to do when I got laid off, is as I knew that as a tech person, I needed to stay up on
Skills.
my skills. You can't just sit down and look for a job, and because within a couple of months you've kind of started to forget everything. Mm-hmm. So I needed to do something to maintain those skills. So I thought, and plus you almost need a portfolio for the job market. In this industry, you got to be able to show your skills a little bit. So I sat down. I said, I probably should create a product or an application, something
Useful.
something useful, but something that I could really showcase my skills with.
Yeah.
So a few, 15 years ago, something like
Probably,
that.
at least.
We had an application.
I bet it's been 20 years ago.
I think it was around probably 20 years.
20
You're right.
years ago.
2005.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had an application that we actually used religiously to help us keep track of our own finances. And, but of course, with time, I never really upkept the application. It became obsolete, and we actually stopped using it. So I thought, hey, why not do that again? So it was a perfect application. It was it was complicated enough to where it showcased some skills, and it's really been useful for us. I know I feel like something's in my face.
I was like,
I
is that
keep
my
feeling-
hair?
No,
Or is that yours?
It was mine.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a really useful application that I've really expanded on. I think it's an incredible application. I may share it with you guys. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But right now, that's kind of not where we're going. Right now, I just kind of wanted to talk about how basically what I did is I knew what the problem was. It wasn't being doged, because getting laid off from your job, that's just a fact of life. It's going to happen no matter what. The problem is that I need to maintain those skills and I need to adjust to the current job market.
And to the current administration.
Yeah.
Because this was a hand that we were dealt. So,
And that's the thing, you don't have control over that hand.
yeah.
It's what you do with the hand once you're dealt it.
Yeah. So, I feel like you've done something very positive with it.
Yeah.
And
And
we're
I've enjoyed
trying
it.
to keep a positive attitude. It's not always easy, I'm going to admit.
Yeah.
It's not always easy having you home
But
24 sleeping in while I'm getting up.
I don't sleep
just-
in. She thinks I do, but she's up at 4 in the morning.
4:30.
So I've always slept in.
I'm
according-
teasing. But the
Not-
point is,
yeah.
it is when you're faced with challenges, especially unexpected challenges, it's not always easy to be positive, but it's so important to try to make the best of what you're given.
And that's how you become successful.
That's
Because
true.
honestly, if you know any successful person, they do the work. They take the risk, and they don't focus on. They don't blame the outside world for things. What they do is they adjust their trajectory as needed. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
the political climate changes. You know, it's going to change again, and every successful person knows that's a fact, and they have to be ready to adjust,
Adapt
to the current policies.
to what you're currently living with or dealing with.
And that's kind of what we've learned is that you're dealt a deck, a hand of cards. Good luck with that hand.
It might not be the one you wanted, but
You know?
yeah. And that's kind of what we want to take all of you on, is come along with us on our journey, because we're not really sure what's going to be going on a month from now. I mean, it might look exactly like this. It might be completely different. As Mike is applying for different jobs, we're opening up again the idea that, hey, we may have to leave Arizona. We don't know. So we just thought it would be fun to
It's-
actually document it and see the growth that, we experience with the adversity.
And we want to bring you along so we can share things that we've learned.
Yeah,
You know,
we'll learn together.
yeah, we'll learn together. So that's kind of our goal, is to share our journey with you. Maybe give some advice that we've learned, that we learn along the way. Mm-hmm. And maybe you'll take that advice. Maybe you won't.
Yeah.
I can't control what you do, just like you can't control what anyone else does. So
Yeah. So until next time,
I guess we'll see you later.
yeah, see you later.
So join us again. That was better.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Should we watch it?
Yeah,
Or should I put it on the big screen?
put it on the big screen.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.